Welcome to this edition of the Fire Marshal's Corner. I'm your host, Richard Blankenship, and thank you for joining our program. Today we're going to talk about the city's new updated AED program. We're going to talk about holiday cooking, how important it is to pay attention to what's going on, and then we'll have our safety tip we'll talk about this month. I asked Steve Allen to come over from the Office of the Emergency Management. Steve is the program manager for the AED program, and they just updated a lot of our AEDs, and I asked Steve to come over and just kind of explain to us what's going on and how this program is working. Steve, thanks for coming again. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. I had the opportunity to look at some of the stuff with the new AEDs, and it's a lot of nice information there. It's a lot easier to use. Can you just give us a little explanation about the new AEDs?
Sure. 2 years ago, when I took over the program, the technology for the automatic external defibrillators was really progressing over the ones that we currently were using. These new state-of-the-art AEDs, as most technological devices, is over and above what we are currently using. It's more simplistic, it's monitored electronically, it's easier to use for both first responders, police department, or any civilians. We got these first 25 in about a month ago. We had a kickoff with the mayor 2 weeks ago, and now we're distributing them to the police officers. We'll currently, there's each patrol officer and some of the staff officers have AEDs in their cars. And what we've done is we really have handed out the new state-of-the-art ones and took their old ones and traded them in. Some of the big differences over this unit are, number one, in our old units, you had to change the type of pads that you use for an adult and a child. This unit, there's no change in pads. You use the same pads, and also there's a button that you push in here that if you're dealing with a child, you just push the button and the unit automatically adjusts everything to the child. And that's how simplistic it is. These units are a lot more easier to use. When you open them up, all you have to do is follow the instructions. The instructions are plain. Even elementary school kids have used these new AEDs. That's how simplistic it is.
All clothing from patient's chest.
For us older people who forget, it's easy for us too. But another great thing about these new AEDs is that it's integrated into the Prince George's County Fire and EMS system. So another great feature about these units is as soon as somebody opens it up and as soon as they pull the first pad off, it sends an electronic signal into the Prince George's County system. So the 911 operators will know each unit has a specific address on where it is, and so they can follow up and to make sure that they can start inquiring about, where the unit is being used. Now, like we have a brand new unit in City Hall here, and if somebody would take it out and use it, when it sends a signal in, it would say 8301 Sandy Spring Road. So if there wasn't EMS forces already dispatched, they would automatically dispatch them. Another great advantage of these new AEDs is it's all electronically monitoring the system in there all the time. On our old AEDs, we used to have to physically inspect each one to make sure that the battery was okay, make sure it was operating correctly, make sure that the pads were okay. This unit does everything automatically. Dumps it right into the Wi-Fi any place in the city that we had the city Wi-Fi, and it sends a signal to me and also to Prince George's County if something is detected wrong. I just got a signal 2 days ago about a unit, and all it was the lid wasn't closed all the way. So that's a great advantage over our old ones. And there again, it provides us another exceptional tool so we can make sure that if we use the AED, it's ready to go at a moment's notice. Another good feature of these new AEDs is after we use them, and I have to probably be the first one to announce that we did use our first brand new AED today. A Laurel police officer used it. Sadly, the individual they used it on did not survive, but they did use the AED. It worked great, and we were really happy about it. But now, after I get done with this broadcast, I have to go over to the police department, pick up the AED. I go right up to Prince George's County Station 10, walk into them with the paramedic. They hook up a line to the machine. It downloads all the data, and then all the data goes into Prince George's County system. And all this medical data is included in the medical report, and it's secure. But also it will tell us if CPR was used, how effective it was. So it does a lot of good things to help us improve with whoever is doing CPR along with the AED operation. So these are, like I said, I am very, very happy that we got these new units. We're going to be getting the new units in allotments. We got 2 more years. And then after that, every AED used in the city by the police department in all our facilities, staff cars. Rich, you have one in your car. I got one in my car. So, we have a lot of AEDs within the city of Laurel boundaries. And, it's a great tool.
And this is for you, so basically it is hands-on CPR.
Yes.
Because that's what they're teaching the public now, just
Right.
Just
There's
do
no more.
compressions.
There's no more ventilation. You don't have to worry about a pocket mask or kissing somebody. But right now we're teaching AED training, hands-only CPR, and also stop the bleed, which there's stop the bleed is for mass casualty incidents. So
and that's a good program as well. I mean, I reviewed the videos on these here, and man, these are, like you said, they're way out there. They're way exceeded their expectation.
And like I said, another great feature about these is, of course, when you open them up and it starts walking you through what to do, this automatically adjusts the ambient noise of the speaker. So if you're out, outside or any place where it's loud, the volume increases so you can hear it. Also, another good feature about this is when you're doing CPR, it beats to the CPR.
Yes.
Another fine feature of this new unit is on the old AEDs, when you had them hooked up and you were doing CPR, you'd have to stop so the AED could analyze whether it needs to shock. This one, you just keep on going and it analyzes while you're doing CPR. So there again, it increases what you need to do for the victim to try to get them to survive the incident. So it's a great tool.
Yeah, over the past years, it's definitely nice. I'm glad to see we're going to something like that.
Well, if I could, there again, with the support of the mayor and the city council, they have put funding in our capital improvement budget program for these AEDs. And, I'm really looking forward to getting all of our AEDs, our old ones, switched over to the new ones so the city of Laurel can stay up to date on the most innovative, most state-of-the-art AEDs that's out there.
Yeah, I give the mayor credit and the city council. They're always looking for ways to improve quality of life and stuff in the city of Laurel and what we do.
Right.
I mean, we have a lot of nice stuff here in the city, and this is a new program that's, man, it's fantastic. And like I said, when I reviewed the videos of it, the things this thing could do, and if you don't push hard enough, it'll tell you, lean over the patient, keep your arms straight. And once you get to a certain point, it'll tell you got 15 seconds left. And it tells you how long you've been doing it and everything else. What a nice machine. So, But we know over the next couple of years, then we're going to replace the other ones, and everybody eventually have these.
Correct.
And they do work. We've saved a couple of our own people here in the city.
Yes, we have.
And the thing, folks, is if you call 911 for an emergency, somebody's having trouble breathing, maybe think they're having a heart attack or something, the system is going to pick a priority of what they call either a BLS call or an ALS call. If they get an ALS call for like a heart attack or something like that, the Laurel Police Department gets that information as well, and they'll dispatch an officer to the scene with the AEDs. So don't get yourself upset if you call for an emergency, for an ambulance, and a fire engine shows up, or a police officer shows up. They're all certified to do the stuff. They're there to help you. Sometimes your closest ambulance might be out. So next thing they might send a fire engine. And also, like I said, the police department is notified on these ALS calls, and they may show up as well. Steve, I want to thank you for coming out. Like I said, I know you're a busy man, and I think you're doing a fantastic job with this program. As a matter of fact, some of the programs you're working on, I know you're busy.
Well, I appreciate that, Richard. It's a team effort. It's not only me, but it's for shows like this with you to get the message out. And, you know, we have a great outreach program. We'll be probably doing AED training for the health fair in January. We're working with a lot of the faith-based organizations in town. We're training congregations. So the more people that we can get trained in AED and hands-on CPR and stop the bleed, you know, the better off we'll all be.
Now, is this something, I don't know if maybe not, if the county's working on anything with the school system, is there anything like the high schools, they do anything for them about this?
I'm not sure
I know they got them in their buildings.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Prince George's County. You know, both of us coming from Howard County.
Hey.
Howard County is probably the lead organization in doing this type of training for schools. But you know, I know Prince George's County Fire and EMS has a section of 7 people that provide training and go out, and I know they'll be working and trying to get AEDs if they haven't already in schools, and then training the kids in both hands-on CPR and stop the bleed. So,
Steve, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come out and share with the public about what's going on with the program. Because like I said, I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you coming out here today. Thanks a lot.
and thanks for inviting me, Richard.
Not
anytime.
a problem, my pleasure, okay? And we'll be right back to talk about our holiday cooking and also about using a fryer to cook your turkey. Thank you.
I don't know what's going on. I found him like this. I don't think he's breathing. Call 911. Michael, go get an AED. How long's it been like this for? I don't know. I just found him.
Ryan, we're starting
Stay with
CPR
us
right now.
Stay with us.
Yeah, he got to.
Adult
Okay,
mode.
he's putting on the pad.
Remove all clothing from patient's chest. Stop chest compressions. Everyone clear. Do not touch patient. Delivering shock. Shock delivered. Resume chest compressions. Lean over the patient.
Welcome back. Now we're going to talk a little bit about cooking. Now that the holiday season's here, Thanksgiving's only a week away, and we're going to talk about some safety tips of what to do when you're cooking and what not to do. The number one cause of residential fires in this country is unattended cooking. So that's why today we want to talk about it a little bit so we can make it safe for the holiday. You got your friends coming over, you got your family coming over. We want to make it safe for everybody. One of the things, some safety tips you want to think about, I know the holidays, people like to sometimes have a little bit of wine or drink a little bit. If you're doing any drinking or you're very tired, do not cook. The last thing you want to do is put a pot of food on the stove and fall asleep. It's not a good thing. If you're doing any frying, boiling, or even grilling, stay in the kitchen while that's going on. Don't leave the food cooking unattended. That's not a good thing to do. If you're simmering food, like baking or roasting, check your food regular. Make sure it's okay, make sure it's cooking right. Also use a timer. The timer will remind you that, hey, you are cooking something in the oven, it's time to go check it and make sure it's safe. Make a kid's safe zone, probably 3 foot around the area of the stove. Make sure that your pot handles are pushed in so the kids can't reach up and grab them. Make sure you keep them away from that area so they don't get next to a burner and catch themselves on fire. And every home should have a little 2.5 pound ABC extinguisher. Like I said, more than 90% of fires in residential homes start in the kitchen from unattended cooking. You'd like to have this extinguisher. One of the things you want to do, you want to keep the fire small, and that's exactly what will happen. And we ask you to get what they call an ABC extinguisher. There's different classes of fire, A, B, C, and D. A is like wood and paper, B is like flammable liquids, and C is electrical. This little extinguisher, the ABC extinguisher, you can use it on any type of fire. So that's why we tell you to get a little ABC extinguisher. You don't want to throw water on hot grease. Not going to work. It's just going to splatter, it's going to make the fire get bigger, and then you got a problem. If for some reason you do have a fire in your house and you put the fire out, always call the fire department, dial 911, and let them come out and check it. Because a lot of times people, they'll have a fire on the stove, it gets up behind the cabinets, you don't even know it until later on, you have a big fire, and we don't want to have that. And again, for the kids' safety, please turn the pot handles in, keep them away so the little guys can't reach up and grab a hold of them, and keep any stools or anything away from them that they can climb up on anything. Always protect the little guys. Using deep fryers. Every holiday, a lot of people like to cook their turkeys using a deep fryer. I've never had it myself, but people say it's good. And if that's what people want to do, that's what you do. But you gotta remember, read all the directions and read all the safety features that goes with that. It's going to tell you how to use it correctly and tell you what to do and not to do. You need to read those and understand those. Make sure that your turkey is thawed out completely. And then what you do, you would take the pot that you're going to put the turkey in, you put the turkey in it, and you fill it up with water from about 1 inch from the top of the turkey. And then when you take your turkey out, you look at the water level, that's your oil line, that's where you put your grease, that's how far you go up. It's measuring it by the weight of the turkey. Because what happens is people just dump the stuff in there, put the turkey in there, and if you don't measure it out, it's going to overflow and it's going to catch fire. So you need to do that. Make sure, like I said, you follow the rules. Use a thermometer. Get your grease should be somewhere around 300 and something to about 325 to cook your turkey. Know how long it takes to cook it. Make sure you get a certain amount of weight of turkey that you want. Follow the directions on how many pounds that you use per minute to cook it. Make sure you follow those directions. And everything I'm telling you, folks, is very important to understand. Okay, nobody wants to have a fire in the house, especially with the holidays, with the family there and everything else. Just read the directions and follow what it says. And like I said, for any reason you do have a fire, please make sure you contact 911 and let them come out and check it out. Before you cook any fryer, neither your grills you should have away from your house. If something unfortunately does happen, you don't pay attention to the rules and you overfill this thing with grease, it overflows because it's going to be bubbling, and you put that turkey in and it's going to splatter over the top, and then it's going to catch fire. You don't want that nowhere near around your house. If you don't have a fire extinguisher to put it out, don't fool with it. Make sure you call 911 right away and make sure everybody gets out of the house. So you want to do that. Again, like I said, it's very important if you've been drinking or you're very tired, do not cook. You know, and if you're doing any frying, grilling, or boiling or anything like that, make sure you stay in the kitchen while that's going on. And I'm explaining this again just to make sure, because I want you to be safe. I want you to have a good, safe holiday. That's what we're trying to do here. And again, use a timer if you're doing any baking or simmering or anything like that. So the one thing is going to remind you to do that. But again, like I said, the number one cause of fires in residential is unattended cooking. People walk away while they got stuff in the oven, or they put stuff on the stove. You could fall asleep. Anything could happen. You want to make sure that that doesn't. And again, for the little guys and the little kids like that, protect them. Make sure you take the pot handles and you turn them in so they can't reach up and grab that. We want you to have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. That's the whole reason why we're doing the show today. And our safety tip for this holiday is the winter months are here. It's cold outside. Some days, like today, is a really nice day outside. But the cold weather is here. It's going to be cold. Make sure you bundle up. Keep your hands covered up. Cover up as much as you can to prevent frostbite. You want to protect yourself. Do not use your stove, if you have a gas stove, to heat your house. If you have a gas appliance, you have a fireplace, you're using it, you should also have a carbon monoxide detector in your house. Because CO is a poisonous gas. You can't smell it, you can't see it, and what it'll do, it'll put you to sleep and you'll never know it. So if you got any kind of gas appliances in your house, don't leave your cars running in the garage and warm them up in the morning before you go to work. And if you do have any of those kind of things, you're using any wood burning stoves or anything like that, or fireplace, make sure that you have carbon monoxide detector. I thank you for joining our show this month. Again, please have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you next month on the Fire Marshal's Corner.